Hello fellow builders, it's great to have you back for another video from our Let's Play series, Twisted Dunes, on the Oasis map. I'm your builder, New Build Cities, NBC for short, and today I'd like to build a really nice self-sufficient neighborhood in this area labeled self-sufficient. So let's jump right in. I'd like to start this area with a beautiful high school and elementary school area using the Green Cities DLC assets. First, I'd like to build out a nice open plaza area, and while I do that, I'll fill you in on what's been going on with this city the last couple episodes. Last episode, we created an amazing generic industry area, providing jobs for our citizens, as well as a stunning nuclear power plant that received over 1,000 upvotes on Reddit. So thanks to those who supported me there. So I encourage you to take a look at those last few episodes if you want to see some really nice builds with nuclear power and generic industry. So you probably noticed while I was putting down those tiles from the Park Life DLC, I was having some issues with the spacing, and I did a trick. It's kind of one of those order of operation tricks where if you place the tiles first and then place the path or the road, you can get tighter spacing than if you have the road or the path already existing and then try to lay the tiles. So you saw me destroy that road with trees between this nice little statue area and the plazas, and then go ahead and put it back after I was done laying down the tiles. And I just wanted to point that out just in case I might have missed it, as that's a trick you can use if you're having trouble with spacing out the tiles. But it looks good so far, so let's go ahead and expand on that a little bit more. We'll go ahead and use the hedges from the Park Life DLC just to create a couple spaces. And once again, there's an order of operations trick with those. If you place the hedges first, then fencing, you can actually run fencing through the hedges. But if you place the hedges second, so the fencing first, and then try to place the hedges, you'll be boxed out. You'll only be able to place the hedges so close to the fences before you get interference. So when you're running fencing with the hedges, it's best to put your hedges first. And that also applies to the planter boxes here, right? And here it kind of worked out that I got the same color for like the 5 out of the 6, so I just blew up the 6th one so I got that nice yellow one. Might as well make it symmetrical. And another order of operations trick, it's a lot easier to plant trees first, then place fencing and other objects. So you can see I'm deleting some of the hedges and then placing the nice colorful tree, putting the hedges back. It's just one of them weird things, the game. There's a handful of order of operations tricks in this game, where doing A then B is a lot easier than doing B then A. So now it's looking really nice. I really like the look that we have from our 4-lane road. We got the statues, we got the water fountains, we got some flower beds. It's looking really nice. So let's go ahead and do some work behind the high school. Yeah, put down the standard courts. They always turn out pretty nice. Let's see if we can squeeze the gym in here. That looks pretty good. And then we can do a little trick with the climbing frames and from the city park. Even though there's no path, it's pretty close. A lot of times the Park Life assets, you don't have to be right on the road or right on the path. You just gotta kind of be kind of close and they'll still work. And now I'm going to do a little trick with the freshwater outlet from the Natural Disasters DLC. I'm going to go ahead and create like a little water pocket here. And then I'm going to use the fact that we have water to place down some of those little like a water gazebo-y period things from the city park. They only snap when there's water available. But once you place them, they don't care if the water goes away or not. So you can always just do what I just did. Place some water, place them down, and then remove the water. And then you have almost like a nice deck or like elevated platform where you can kind of sit. It's kind of a cool spot. And now behind the high school, I want to have a really nice big apartment complex area. So I'm just going to space some stuff out for like a nice little centerpiece. And then we'll probably zone out like maybe some 4x4 high density self-sufficient buildings. And we'll do a little bit of detail in the middle. I think that's going to look pretty nice. Got 4x4, 4x4, 4x4 in the corners there. It's going to be a nice little pattern I'm going to do. And then the next door to the high school, we're going to do like a nice little apartment complex, and we're going to use the carousel and I think the plaza from the city park as kind of like a central area, and have some nice tall self-sufficient high density buildings in here as well. We'll make them the 3x4s. 3x4 buildings in the self-sufficient high density, they're pretty nice. You get a couple really nice ones, and some of them have a chance to be reflections of themselves, so you can create some pretty cool patterns in that. And while I'm waiting for those to come in, and I'll just be blowing them up until I get the building I like, let's go ahead and do some more road work. And what I like to do in this area is basically create kind of like a little circle apartment complex. So what we'll have is maybe level 2 or level 3 2x4 high density self-sufficient in here, and then like in the middle like a nice little detailed area. And I think that'll look really nice. And I like the road layout so far, so let's go ahead and convert those dirt roads into just the residential regular roads. And let's go ahead and see how the first apartment complex turned out. And I like it a lot. We got the 4x4 taller square buildings in here, and then on the outsides is the, call them like the quarter moons. They're 4x4, basically like quarter circles. Yeah, let's go ahead and zone some of these 2x4s in here. And what I like to do in this area with this big rectangle is create a really nice kind of apartment-y area using, we'll say like 2x2 high density, self-sufficient, and like allow the 1x4s. We're going to have the padding in the back, and it's going to look really nice. Now we have the ability to change all like the roads and paths that have trees to whatever trees we want. So we'll go ahead and change those to the green trees. So they'll like really blend up well with the green trees that come with the high density self-sufficient buildings. It's going to look pretty cool. So let's go ahead and zone that in. And while we wait for those 1x4s to fill in, let's detail that central area of the first apartment complex we made. I mean, sometimes it's just really nice to leave a lot of space for trees and just be able to put down different props and stuff. It just looks good when you're done. It's just something I find really appealing. Kind of like that open space look. This looks nice. We'll put down a couple assets from the prop section. Got a couple of the planters and the sandbox from the city park from Park Life DLC. And we got like the playground from the prop section, and add some trees and stuff. It looks real nice. We got some, it looks like the farm fencing from Industries DLC. And it's looking good. Looking real good. The buildings are popping in real nice over here. And they're starting to fill in over here as well. So everything's kind of coming along. Let's go ahead and plan out this little area to the top left. I think this will be mostly light density, self-sufficient. And I'm going to zone it in such a way that I'm going to create a gap between the 2-lane road that borders our European area and the self-sufficient area and kind of like the neighborhood. And that way it'll allow me to like put a whole bunch of trees and stuff in between it. And it'll just create this nice kind of like secluded private vibe. And you'll see it when we're done. It's going to be nice, real nice. Well, let's go ahead and just fill in some of the area with some more roads. Kind of fill out this neighborhood a little bit more. Hey, it's looking good. It's looking good so far. Got a little bit more to do up in this little corner. And you may be wondering how I'm picking where I'm putting these dirt roads. And I say it probably every episode I run roads. I'm following the terrain for the most part, or just going with my gut. And I'm using dirt roads, so no harm, no foul if I want to change them and blow them up. Because I want this part of the city to feel organic and just kind of like it just kind of developed. You know, where we have some of the higher density stuff, it's more organized. We got a little bit more of a grid style, but now we're going to do some more light density, so a little curvier roads. And let's take a look at it. It's looking pretty slick so far. I'm liking how this apartment complex is turning out with all these 1x4 buildings. Really liking how the backs look with the trees and the paths and everything. It's looking nice. This area is turning out really, really nice. And while I'm waiting for a couple more buildings to come in, you know, I think I'd like to create a parking lot for our school area. And so what I'm going to do is just use the Green City's local and organic produce zoning and try and zone in the Edison charging station. And I left like a little gap between the parking lot and the roadway, just so I could put in some fencing and some trees, just to help define it a little bit better. It looks pretty good. And while that's all zoning again, and once again blowing up things until I get to the Edison charging station, let's go ahead and put a fish market in this area. We'll do a little bit more of the local and organic produce zoning. And what I like to do, get some of the 4x4s and 1x4s that are like little flea market stand type buildings. They look really, really nice paired up with the fish market. And you know what? On second thought, what I think would look really nice with this fish market is the winter market from Unique Buildings. So let's see if we can squeeze this unique building in here somewhere. go ahead and flatten out the land a little bit because it's going to want to take flat land. And I want this to look a little bit bigger. So what I'm going to kind of do is not place it on a road. I'm going to put it on a road in a way that I'm going to blow up the road and kind of create like a driveway look to it. And then that way I could put like 4 deep zoning around it and then zone them with like this little stalls and stuff. And it'll make like the market look a lot bigger. I think it's going to look cool. So let's go ahead and see how it turns out. And it looks like we're going to have to demolish and relocate that circle apartment complex because it's in the way, but that's okay, they can come back. Bye bye, I'll see you in a minute, my friends. Just make it a little shorter, that's all. And now I'm just converting the roads to highway so that way they'll zone on those like little pieces of dirt road so they can kind of face them that way. Hopefully you guys know that trick by now. You've probably seen me do it a bunch of times. Like I said, I'm going to try and go for a majority of them to be more like the flea market-y tent looking kind of buildings. I'm going to keep a couple of the other ones just to have a little variety in here. Like I said, the majority will be these like the ones with the white roofs and ones with the brown roofs that look like little sheds. Because it blends in real well with the winter market because they got these like little buildings too. As well as the fish market has those little like flea market type stands as well. So it all look like it belongs together. Now I'm going to put some padding along it, fill in some of these gaps with some dirt. They look really nice. And people might even actually walk around them. And I'm just going to use the natural reserve fencing, just to add a little bit more detail. I always like fencing, always makes it look a lot better. And fencing and trees, rocks, always make the world go around. And what do I usually say? Ta-da! The power of editing. And it's done. And everything's filled in real nice. Let's take a look at it. I really like how the winter market and the fish market tie together, especially through the local and organic produce zoning that we did. It looks really nice. There's a lot of pathing in this area. It connects the first kind of like starter area to like our new self-sufficient neighborhood. It goes underneath the rail line. And people are using it. It looks good. I converted the 2-lane concrete road to the 2-lane road with a bike lane. And that connects with our train station in our European area, as well as runs down along the neighborhood here. And I think I mentioned it before as well that I wanted to kind of zone off the main road. And as you can see, we have this beautiful, nice line of palm trees that kind of separates our zoned area in the road. And it just looks real nice. Let's go ahead and take a quick dive into it and just see how it looks kind of like almost like ground level. As you can see, I don't know, I just get a good feeling of like it's kind of like secluded, kind of hiding back there. The residents have a lot of privacy. You know, biking and driving along this road would be really nice. It just looks really good. The biking also connects to the quay from our European area. It continues down towards our downtown, which we'll be doing that in a future episode. And of course, kind of comes down and cuts through our self-sufficient area. And it goes past this park that I ended up putting in. Just use some of the different assets, all kinds of stuff. There's city park and amusement park assets in here. Just wanted to create a nice leisure area that we have with this kind of weird space that had different elevations to it. I think it turned out really nice. And then the biking, like I said, continues down along the main road that kind of cuts through some of the high density that we've placed. Then it hits a bike path that goes behind some light density residential underneath the roadway up and towards the train station. So if they need to bike to the train station and get to places, they have the option to do so. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our transit while we're looking at the train. We have 2 bus routes in the area. We got the green route here. It's not moving a whole lot of people, but it kind of loops up and through the self-sufficient area. It's just there moving people kind of like left or right, maybe toward the fish market and back. And then we have the other one that kind of runs from between that train station, kind of cuts through the self-sufficient European area, goes all the way to the Euro suburbia area, kind of comes back, so it's kind of going more up and down. And that's actually moving quite a bit of people for a bus route. Let's go ahead and dive right back into it. And then here on the 4-lane road, did the same kind of technique, didn't really zone on the road itself, and kind of kept the buildings off of it, and that afforded me the opportunity to put some fencing in and do like a little bit of detailing with the trees and stuff like that, just to kind of create a little bit of a space, that little bit of feeling of privacy and seclusion. And now off to like this area where we had a lot of light density residential. I changed all the roadwood trees to palm trees, just to have some height in here. It reminds me a lot of Los Angeles in certain spots because I've been watching Bosch and Bosch Legacy on Hulu recently, and they have a lot of those streets like lined with the palm trees, and just looks cool. And just on the other side of that, we have the elder care, daycare, and a community pool, and a couple more high density buildings. Of course, this was our first high density little apartment complex we built. Add a little bit more detailing to it. It looks really nice. I really like how the quarter moons are kind of on the sides, and they got the big square buildings on, in the middle. It's like right behind our high school. Looks nice. And over here, as we get closer to towards near where the downtown's going to be, we have a lot of high density as well, and it's a lot of pathing. We got the planters and fencing along the roadway, and there's paths that go over the road so people can kind of get in and out of which will be our downtown area. uh, easier. They don't have to worry about crossing the road, create traffic issues, and it just looks real pretty. And I also did a little bit of detail behind some of these apartment buildings just to try and make it feel like there's a kind of a community area behind them. And I mentioned it before, I really like how the trees and the planters and the fencing turned out on our main road. This looks really pretty. We got a really nice look at our high school. Our parking lot turned out great. Here it is filled in for our students. And we'll just take a look at how the back of the high school turned out. We got the courts, got the gymnasium. And we got that little elevated platform from the city park that we use that water outlet to kind of place. And our high school looks pretty. I mean, I think it looks really good. It's a great view. And then we had our second kind of apartment complex area where we had the carousel and the plaza. It's kind of like the middle part, and I pieced together just a few of the buildings. These are all 3x4 buildings, and they look really nice. And once again, there's pathing that kind of crosses the street. This is the American path. It looks really nice, and it gets people across the street without having to interfere with traffic. There's different paths in the area, connected to different areas. Here is just a quarter moon kind of sandwiched together to create like an oval shaped building. Looks cool. There's a couple buildings you can use from the high density self-sufficient to kind of create, we'll say, bigger buildings. And you know, I'm a big fan of that like modular construction. And then we have like maybe the third apartment area, which was the 1x4s and like 2x2s. And it turned out really well. Once again, I changed the pathing to the green trees, so the green trees with the pathing blends in with the trees that are naturally part of those buildings. It looks really nice. I like the pattern. It really feels like they create little courtyard areas and the pathing going through, and it looks like we have a really nice view into the downtown area. And then our little circle apartment complex turned out really nice, and there's some decoration and detailing in the center with some little Stonehenge type props that we have in the prop section. It looks really nice. And now we're back at the winter market and fish market. And I think that wraps this up. I hope this neighborhood demonstrates what a little patience and selective zoning can do to transform the self-sufficient district painting into a beautiful looking neighborhood. I think our city's in a great spot to build a new airport using the airport's DLC, so that will be our next episode. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like to help support and grow this channel, as well as I'd love to welcome you into the NBC family by having you become a subscriber. If you'd like to interact with me live, stop by my Twitch page. The link is below. Shoot me a follow. That way you'll be notified the next time I stream. I wish you fellow mayors the best and brightest success in your cities. And as always, happy building.